You are looking directly at proof of something you actually accomplished. The diploma, the title, the framed article, the finished project sitting right there in front of you, and it feels like it belongs to a stranger. Not fake exactly, just distant, like reading about someone else's life. Someone who happens to share your name and your face, but who you cannot quite locate as actually being you. Everyone around you seems to be able to look at their own wins and feel some genuine connection to them. You look at yours and feel a strange, quiet gap, as though the achievement and the person experiencing it right now are somehow two separate things that never fully touched. Carl Jung had a real explanation for this particular disconnection, and it points to something worth taking seriously rather than simply ignoring. Jung believed that a genuine sense of ownership over an achievement requires more than simply having done the thing. It requires the conscious self and the part of you that actually did the work to be at some real level the same integrated person, connected enough that the achievement can be received as genuinely yours rather than observed from a slight unexplained distance. When this connection is thin, whether because the achievement was pursued mostly to satisfy someone else's expectations, or because the version of you who did the actual work has never quite been let into full conscious awareness of what it accomplished, the result is exactly this strange gap, looking directly at your own success and feeling like a visitor standing outside it. This explains why the disconnection so often shows up specifically around genuinely significant achievements rather than small everyday tasks. Since small tasks rarely require the same kind of deep, sustained investment that would reveal a real gap in ownership if one exists. A major achievement, by contrast, forces the question directly, does this actually feel like mine? And for a certain kind of person, the honest answer, uncomfortable as it is, turns out to be not quite, even while they can list in complete detail every single thing they personally did to make it happen. Here is what Jung's understanding suggests is actually happening underneath this gap, and it is worth sitting with honestly. Very often, this disconnection points toward an achievement that was pursued primarily because it was expected, admired, or considered impressive by other people, rather than because it emerged from something genuinely, personally chosen. The work itself may have been done entirely by you, with real skill and real effort, but the underlying reason it was pursued in the first place may have come from somewhere slightly external to your own deepest, most authentic wanting, and this creates exactly the kind of gap you are now standing in front of, looking at a result that is technically yours, but that never actually connected to anything you personally, deeply wanted for its own sake. This does not mean the achievement was worthless, and it does not mean you should regret having pursued it. It means the disconnection is genuinely useful information, worth examining honestly, rather than simply pushed aside as some strange quirk of your own personality. The real practical question worth asking directly is this: if no one else had ever known about this achievement, if there had been no recognition, no admiration, no external validation attached to it at all, would you still have wanted to pursue it purely for what it gave you internally? If the honest answer is yes, the gap you are filling may simply need time and conscious, deliberate reflection to actually close, since ownership sometimes catches up slowly after the fact. If the honest answer is genuinely no, the gap is telling you something important about where your actual deepest wanting lies, and it is worth taking that information seriously going forward rather than simply repeating the same pattern with the next achievement. Here is a genuinely useful practice for closing this gap where it can actually be closed. Sit down and deliberately in detail walk back through the actual process of creating this achievement, not the outcome itself, but the specific choices, the specific effort, the specific moments where you personally pushed through something difficult. Naming these specific moments out loud, to yourself or to someone else, often begins to rebuild the missing connection between the conscious self, looking at the result now and the part of you that actually lived through making it happen. Think honestly about an achievement in your own life that you look at and feel this exact strange distance from, and ask yourself plainly whether you would have wanted it just as much if no one else had ever known about it at all. Right below the single word for the achievement that produces this feeling most strongly for you. Naming it honestly and walking back through the actual personal effort that built it is the real and practical way this strange distance either finally closes or finally reveals something important about what you actually want to pursue differently going forward. Because looking at your own real achievement and feeling like it happened to someone else was never, according to Carl Jung's understanding, evidence of some strange defect in your ability to feel proud. It was either a genuine ownership gap waiting to be closed through honest reflection, or an honest signal that this particular goal was never actually yours to begin with, and either way, it deserved to be taken seriously rather than quietly ignored.